Jagmeet Singh was in Halifax talking to at least 24 of his supporters. The NDP has accused Mark Carney of avoiding paying taxes on nearly 5 billion Canadian dollars. And the Quebecois say that Mark Carney's French is not strong enough to be the leader of the country. All that and more. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling. I'm your host. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, who at one point not so long ago was poised to become the official opposition leader, but he chose to back Justin Trudeau for his own personal gains and for reasons that I suppose many of us will never understand, that are lost to history. He was in Halifax, and there wasn't that much of a support for him. What bothers me about Jagmeet Singh is that it appears that much of the NDP base has swung over to the Liberals because they think that they share ideology, which they might not have thought that if Jagmeet Singh didn't cozy up so tight to Justin Trudeau. And I would say, if you're out there and you're listening to me and you're an NDP supporter, I would just like to point out that Mark Carney and most of the Liberals are the exact opposite to what you claim the NDP stands for. They are loaded with elitists. They are loaded with the wealthiest people. Most of them come from money. They have never understood what it's like to suffer. They have never understood what it's like to go hungry for their art form. They are actually the opposite of what the NDP claims they represent. And even Jagmeet is still talking that way, that he stands for, no corporate this and no corporate that. And I mean, he doesn't talk about food prices anymore, which is unfortunate. And I suppose that's because nobody's talking about food prices except for feels like me. But now let's just take a look at the support that Jagmeet Singh got at one of these Halifax ridings.
Lisa! Thanks for being here. It's so awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's awesome.
High five.
Hey, buddy.
High five.
Yeah! So good. Thanks so much. Nice to see you. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, everybody. You're amazing. This is so awesome. Hey, I know you. Yeah. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much. Gregory! Yes! Victoria! Yes! How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. This is my buddy. Do you know my buddy, Gregory?
Hey, man, eh? Okay. You remember my friend Jagmeet? Yeah. Can I get a picture? It's been a little while.
Yes, of course. Good to see you.
She came in too.
Yes, so good. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So nice.
So there you have it. Literally tens of people showed up at the arrival of the party leader for the NDP. There might have been more signs there than there was people if you really want to look at it. I believe that the NDP has only Jagmeet Singh to blame. The country saw as he stood by and laughed and giggled and, threatened people with fistfights in the House of Commons. Meanwhile, the state of the country, the standard of living in this country bottomed out and became near that of third world countries. Now the Canadian population is sitting here in limbo while we wait for the Liberal Party to do something because Jagmeet Singh would not pull the trigger on an election. And now we have to sit idly by and watch Mark Carney fly tax dollars all over the country, all over the world, all over the continent. No one talking about the issues that are plaguing Canadians: inflation, food prices, the food chain, the supply chain. Oh, it's houses every once in a while. But Mark Carney is simply following Pierre Poilievre around. Like whatever Pierre Poilievre mentions, the very next day, Mark Carney mentions. And at least Jagmeet Singh is not doing that. At least he's trying to, kind of walk his own pathway. This is from the NDP's main website. I'll leave a link down in the description. April 4th, 2025. Mark Carney has helped Brookfield avoid $5.3 billion in taxes since 2021. Canadians lost an estimated $5.3 billion to Brookfield Asset Management's tax avoidance in the time Mark Carney was with the company. Between 2021 and 2024, Brookfield's annual report shows that they made $23 billion. $23 billion. Don't go telling me that Mark Carney doesn't have residuals, and don't go telling me that Mark Carney doesn't have conflicts of interest. The more Canadians are poor, the more money Mark Carney makes. Never mind your security clearance. Let's talk about the conflict of interest in his financial holdings. Canada's corporate tax rate of 26.4%, they would have paid $6.1 billion in taxes, but they only paid $2 billion, leaving a gap of $4.1 billion USD or $5.3 billion CAD, which is Canadian versus American money for those that might not know. This is the same calculation method used by the Toronto Star and the Canadians for Tax Fairness for their reports on corporate tax avoidance. And there you can see they break down the numbers, and they go on to talk about how the Bermuda business that was looking after this $5 billion was actually a bicycle shop in Bermuda. So I guess there's a lot of money in bicycles in Bermuda. Unfortunately for Canadians, we'll have to allow Jagmeet to go his own way. And, it's too bad that the NDP won't have any representation in the House of Commons, at least to take some votes away from the Liberals. We still have the Bloc that maybe they can get some votes out of the Liberals. That would be very good. And of course, everybody really should just be voting for the Conservatives, because the Liberals have had a decade and they've destroyed it. They made the country a mess. There's nothing worth, there's nothing to brag about in the behavior of the Liberal Party. Anyway, let's move on to the report coming out of the Toronto Star, which I found quite surprising because they are heavily left-leaning. Mark Carney's French skills not good enough for Prime Minister, says a third of Francophone Canadians, which is a big segment, if I'm honest. Now, I'm sure that this article is only talking about Quebec and not really being aware of the various pockets of Francophone speakers in this country. There are a considerable amount of Francophones in Manitoba, for example. And at least half the province in New Brunswick. But I'll just let the article speak for itself. A new poll comes as high-stakes federal leaders debate each other, and Carney's French-speaking skills remain a topic of discussion throughout the election campaign. I'll leave a link to the article down in the description. I think that we can see that it's basically just going to say the same thing as the title said, and it's not worth necessarily diving into. There's a lot of propaganda in it. I would say that Mark Carney's French skills are not very strong, and certainly the Bloc leader's English is better than Mark Carney's French. I don't think that Mark Carney's French is going to, when he goes on the debate stage, especially on the French debate, he's going to get left in the dust. He's going to be arguing with people who have university capabilities in their French, and he's got grade school stuff. I mean, I watch him on his tour all the time, and he repeats the same 6 or 7 phrases over and over again. I mean, he's learned a few phrases, and he might be able to hear the French mildly, but he's not a strong communicator, and he's not articulate at all. He switches so many times back to English. He'll just say, "Oh, I'll just finish in English," because he can't articulate his thought in French, which of course is one of the reasons why the Francophone voter may not vote for him, because some Francophones in this country take that type of thing very seriously. I don't believe that he's qualified to be Prime Minister in any way, shape, or form. I mean, thinking that you know how to run a boardroom and that's the same as running a country, especially a country as diverse as Canada, no, that's not even close to accurate. And anybody who thinks that for some reason he's going to be able to put Donald Trump in his place, Donald Trump will shred that guy. Donald Trump, he argues for fun. Mark Carney can't handle a reporter questioning him, never mind Donald Trump. Never mind the guy who has the wherewithal that somebody clips him in the ear and he stands up, ignores his Secret Service, and does a cheer to the crowd that's watching him. You think that Mark Carney is going to be able to stand to negotiate with that guy? I don't believe for one second Mark Carney has what it takes to negotiate a political settlement. Because in his world, everything is dollars and cents. But in political settlements, it's more than that. There's nuances that you can't even fathom. For example, the nuance of knowing how to speak really good French in Quebec and not Parisian French, right? In Canada, in Quebec especially, they speak a special brand of French. And if you speak Quebecois, you will be closer to the voting population. That's why Mark Carney only goes to Montreal, where a good third of the city communicates daily in English first. So he gets off the hook there. Let me see him go to other parts of Quebec. Let me see him go into the pathway where Yves-François Blanchet has gone. And then we'll see. Then we'll try to understand if he can hold his own. But the debate will lay it all bare. I don't believe that Mark Carney can. I don't believe that Mark Carney can win a debate in English against Pierre Poilievre. Don't misunderstand me. I mean, Pierre Poilievre. I've watched him shred the entire Liberal cabinet, and I have seen Mark Carney get flustered when a reporter makes one follow-up question to the answer that he just gave. So I don't believe that he has the skill set at all. I believe that he's quite comfortable in never allowing anybody to talk back to him. And so he believes in his mind that that's somehow going to win an argument or win a debate. But in truth, it's not anywhere near with the skill that's required to be a leader of a country. It might do fine in the boardroom when everybody's playing by a certain set of rules and nobody wants to look you in the eye and tell you that you're wrong. But in politics, everybody will look you in the eye and tell you that you're wrong, even if they think you're right. So it's just a different walk. And I believe that the campaign trail is laying that out. I mean, sticking with the Liberal Party, they've had to remove yet another person running for one of their ridings. This one was in Edmonton. Fella's name was Rod Layola, and he is on video saying that Hezbollah and Hamas should be lionized, not villainized. And you can't understand in my mind how confused I get when I hear people who are running for the Liberal Party supporting communism, Marxism, and all of the other ideologies that fall in line with that. All of the people out there in the world that are calling themselves liberal who want to take away all of your liberties. I mean, the contradiction is ridiculous. And it makes you wonder if they shouldn't just sort of recognize, the wording or change the name of the party. Forget calling it liberals. They can call it, Canada's Marxist outfit or something like that. I don't really know. I just think that it's shocking in my mind how many people call themselves liberal and who support many of the authoritarian regimes around the planet. In this case, Rod Layola said in a 2009 video taken at an anti-NATO protest that Hamas and Hezbollah, both listed terrorist organizations in Canada, should be lionized, not condemned. The Liberals dropped the Edmonton candidate who praised Hamas and Hezbollah in a video. I thought this was supposed to be in a vetting process. I thought the Liberals were vetters. I thought they were the ones who were supposed to be looking after this kind of stuff. So did that video get ignored because there are so many people in the Liberal Party who support authoritarian regimes, who support these kinds of organizations, these militant organizations? I mean, it's funny that you would tell yourself that you got to take the firearms away from legal owners in Canada and support a militant organization from another country. All of that contradiction makes me very suspicious of anyone who claims to be a liberal. All of that contradiction makes me wonder in my mind how they can even call themselves liberals. Again, I'll leave a link. I'll tell you what's really funny in my head is that he was an actual sitting member of the provincial legislature in Alberta. Then he won the nomination for the Liberal Party and said he was leaving provincial politics and going into federal politics. I don't know. Did he resign his seat? I think he would have had to have, right? So now he's got neither. The sad part is that this guy was on the video saying that, Hezbollah and Hamas are only defending their people. And to that, I would say this. That's exactly what they say in Israel, that they're only defending their people. So if on the one hand, they're only defending their people, and that's something that they should be, in your words, lionized for, by your very words, that's exactly what the people in Israel should be feeling, lionized. So if you want one side to put down their weapons, it stands to reason that both sides should put down their weapons. Or perhaps you should stop telling yourself that you're going to venerate a listed terrorist organization in Canada while trying to live off the benefits of being a Canadian. Maybe you should leave that world alone and just be a Canadian first. Because there's everywhere I go around the world, there's conflict and there's chaos. And should we allow all of it to be imported into Canada? Is that what you believe your ancestors left those countries for? So that you could come later and rehash some conflict that you probably don't understand and have never really been affected or afflicted by. Anyway, I suppose I should leave that for a different video. This one I'll wrap now. I want to thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next time.